Welcome to Yoga for Wellness. My name is Kahlia, and I'm a registered yoga instructor as well as a youth librarian here at the Meijer Branch of Jackson District Library. As you may know, October is Emotional Wellness Month, and I wanted to share with you just some of the benefits that a regular yoga practice has to offer. The following slides will illustrate some of these benefits, including mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. Hopefully you have all picked up your craft kits, which include the materials needed to make our no-sew weighted eye pillows. So if you have those completed, you will definitely want to have them nearby. A yoga mat is helpful if you have one. Otherwise, you can use another soft surface. Just be mindful of the material you choose, as we don't want you to slip or fall when doing any of the poses we will work through today. It is traditional to do yoga barefoot, but please go with your own comfort level. Other than having some water nearby, that is about all you will need. So again, welcome, thank you for being here, and let's get started with our practice. We are going to start today standing with our feet grounded into our mats, our arms at our sides with our palms facing out, and here we come into Tadasana, or mountain pose. Really try to ground down into our mats here, feeling the earth beneath us and feeling our connection to the earth. I want to encourage you throughout our practice today to listen to your body and be mindful of what it's telling you. Regardless of what pose we are in, we never want to feel any pulling, pinching, or pain. If at any point during our practice we lose our breath or perhaps are struggling in a pose, be gentle with yourself. Carefully come out of the pose, and we can always come back into child's pose to rest. To get into child's pose, we start by placing the tops of our feet onto the floor, slowly sinking back, stretching our arms straight out in front, and moving our fingertips away from our shoulders. Throughout our practice, try to focus on taking long and slow inhales in and letting long, slow exhales out. Generally speaking, we inhale with one movement and exhale with the next. Coming out of child's pose, slowly we are going to help ourselves back up into standing. From here in mountain pose, we will swoop our arms up and out, bringing our hands together above us in a prayer-type position. Coming back to heart center, and then sweeping our arms out and up over our heads once again, bringing our hands together, fingers interlaced with our pointer fingers pointing up towards the sky. Then very slowly and listening to our bodies, we're going to gently lean over to the right-hand side, feeling that full stretch along our left rib cage area. Take a deep inhale here, and then we will bring ourselves back up and exhaling, tip ourselves back over to the left-hand side. Inhaling, coming back to center, we're going to tilt our heads back, bending our backs ever so slightly, listening to our bodies and going only as far as our bodies tell us to today. We're going to create a tiny back bend, holding it for a moment if we can, and inhaling here. On our next exhale, we're going to slowly and carefully bring ourselves back up and into a neutral standing position. Sweeping our arms up and overhead, and then hinging at the hips, coming into a forward fold where we'll stay for a few breaths. Here in forward fold, we're going to let our heads hang, maybe swaying gently back and forth, letting gravity help us sink deeper into this pose, maybe even taking opposite hands to opposite elbows if that's within your practice today. On our next inhale, we're going to look forward, bringing our hands to our shins, and then slowly bringing ourselves back up to standing. And we're going to once again meet here in Tadasana, or mountain pose. From here, we're going to work into coming into tree pose, or Utkatasana. To start, we're going to make sure that our legs are fairly close together, and we're going to shift all of our weight onto first our left leg, really grounding that left leg into our mats, maybe even curling our toes a bit into the earth, creating a stable base for our tree. Slowly, we're going to start to lift our right leg now, first bringing our right toes to the floor, lifting our right leg up, bringing right foot to left shin, maybe even bringing that right foot to our inner left thigh if you find that that is within your practice today. Remember to breathe. Tree pose is an excellent pose for teaching us balance. One thing that often helps quite a bit with balance is to focus on a point ahead of us. This can be really anything in the room, a spot on the floor, a picture on the wall, a clock, anything that we can focus our gaze, or our drishti, as we say in Sanskrit, focus our drishti on, and I think you'll really be surprised how much this helps with our balancing poses like tree pose. So if it is within our practice today, we're going to bring our arms out to our sides, gently touching our middle fingers and thumbs together. We can reach our arms up and straight overhead, growing our trees tall, and then bringing our hands back around to heart center. We're going to repeat this pose on the other side, grounding down with our right leg and lifting our left leg off the mat. So first we're going to come back to neutral, hands to heart center, neutral position. We're going to really ground down this time our right leg, and then slowly start to lift our left leg off the mat, bringing toes to the floor, left foot to right shin, perhaps even bringing left foot to our inner right thigh, listening to our bodies and remembering to take a breath here. If it's within our practice, we can bring our arms out to the sides, middle fingers touching thumbs. We can bring our arms overhead, growing our trees nice and tall, or we can bring our hands back around to heart center, where we're going to slowly release our pose, coming back to neutral, hands sweeping overhead, and then once again bending at the hips and coming into forward fold. From here, we're going to take a nice deep inhale in, looking forward, coming halfway up with our hands coming to our shins, and then folding back down again. Here we're going to bend our knees slightly, and we are going to come into Utkatasana, or chair pose. And if we can, we're going to hold it here for 3 breaths, counting at your own pace and listening to our bodies. Sinking down as though we were sitting into a chair, check in with your body here, making sure that our backs are straight and not arched, and that our core or our bellies are engaged and our spines straight. Coming out of chair pose, we're going to straighten our legs, swooping our arms up and overhead as we come back to standing and bringing our hands back to heart center. Sweeping arms up and overhead, once again, we're going to hinge at the waist, coming into forward fold. Inhaling halfway up, then folding. This time we are going to bring our hands down to the mat and step each leg carefully back behind you, coming into plank pose, or as we call it in Sanskrit, Kumbhakasana. From plank pose, we're going to bend our elbows, lowering our bodies down to the mat, almost as though we were going to do a half push-up, but lowering our bellies all the way down to the mat. Make sure here that the tops of our feet are on our mats and our legs are stretched out straight behind us. We want our hands positioned directly under our shoulders on our mats, and then we're going to straighten our arms out very slowly, working our way into Cobra Pose, or Bhujangasana. Here in Cobra Pose, we're going to take a nice deep inhale in, curling our toes under, bringing our hips up and back, and then pressing our hands into the mat and away from our shoulders, coming into our first down dog, or Adho Mukha Savasana. Inhaling, look forward and either step or hop both feet to the front of your mat. Bending the knees slightly, stopping for a moment here in chair pose, and then sweeping arms overhead, bringing hands back down and around to heart center as we come to standing. From here, we're going to again sweep our arms up one more time, hinging at those hips, coming down into forward fold, this time bringing our hands to the ground, lowering to our knees, and coming into Varmanasana, or tabletop position. From here, we will transition to cat and cow pose, also known as Maharyasana in Sanskrit. So inhaling here, we're going to arch our backs, lifting our heads and looking up towards the sky, bringing us into cow pose. You can kind of imagine a cow looking up and taking a nice big moo here. So we can think of our inhale as the cow mooing. And then we're going to exhale, dropping our heads down, tucking our chins into our chest, and really rounding out our spines, coming into cat pose. So we can picture a cat arching its back, stretching, and that brings us into cat pose. So we're going to go at our own pace, and keeping with our own breath, we're going to work through about 3 rounds of cat and cow. So inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat, focusing on our breath, taking long, slow inhales in, and letting long, slow exhales out. Inhaling here, on our next exhale, we're going to place the tops of our feet onto the floor, and we are going to slowly sink backwards, coming into child's pose or balasana. Stretching our arms straight out in front and moving our fingertips away from our shoulders, gently stretching, listening to what our bodies need, coming into the position I showed you at the beginning where we talked about the position of rest, and that is child's pose, or as we say in Sanskrit, balasana. Here in child's pose, we will take 5 breaths. Going at your own pace, remembering to take long, slow breaths in and letting long, slow breaths out. So taking one last deep inhale here, exhaling slowly, coming out of child's pose. If it's within your practice today, what we're going to do is cross our feet and kind of slide them underneath us, relaxing our body back into, once again, an easy seated position with our legs crossed. So from here, we're going to uncross our legs, bringing the soles of our feet together, gently opening up the soles of our feet, almost as though we were opening the pages of a book, and coming into butterfly or Baddha Konasana pose. Here we can gently move our legs up and down, focusing on our breath coming in and out of our bodies with the movement of our legs. Coming back to center and bringing our legs into stillness, we are going to slowly sweep our arms up and overhead, exhaling and bringing our left hand down to our mats, gently beside us, and slightly behind our low back. So behind us and to the side. Inhaling here, on our next exhale, we're going to drop down our right arm, crossing it over that left knee. And then, if it is within our practice, we're going to turn our gaze or our drishti over that left shoulder. And we're going to hold that there, taking 3 long, slow breaths at your own pace. Coming back to center on our next exhale, slowly sweeping our arms up and overhead on our inhale, and then exhaling and bringing our right hand down to our mat, just gently beside us and slightly behind our low back, just like we did on the left hand side. Inhaling here once again. On our next exhale, we're going to drop our left arm down this time, crossing it over that right knee, and then we are going to turn our heads gently and slowly, focusing our drishti over our right shoulder. And here we'll hold this pose for 3 long, slow breaths, going at your own pace and focusing on inhaling and exhaling. And then carefully helping ourselves down onto our mats, working into a lying down position. So we want to work into coming down onto our backs, lying down on our mat. So take a moment to get comfortable and situated, lying on your back in this position. If you need any props or support for your lower back or your neck or even your knees, please take a moment to find a pillow, a blanket, a towel. If you don't already have one with you, any of those things will help to get your body aligned. You can place a rolled towel or a pillow under your neck or at your low back, and this will help keep your body aligned if you're having any trouble in this reclined position. If you have your weighted eye pillow complete, this is the time that we'll be using that to gently place over our eyes for some added weight and comfort during this time of rest. While you are in Shavasana, I am going to read to you a guided meditation. While I'm reading, I want you to simply listen to my words. Imagine the images that they create, and then let both those words and images go. So I'd like you to listen, to visualize, and let go. We don't want to hold on to anything here. So with our eyes closed, let's begin by becoming aware of the breath. Feel the breath as it enters with a cool feeling, and then warming as it gently travels into the lungs. Fill the lungs with a deep inhale, bringing in energy, vitality, and prana, the life force. As you exhale, feel the body releasing toxins, stress, and any negativity that may have accumulated in your day, your week, this difficult year that many of us have had. Stay with this breath, focusing on the feeling of deep peace as we inhale and exhale. Feel the energy that is in the body. Become aware of the warmth and tingling of every cell. Feel the energy that is in the extended environment, in every part of nature and in every living thing. Bring all those energies together and feel them as one. Visualize all of that energy shining brightly as the sun. Bring that shining glow of bright energy over the crown of the head and feel it as it starts to travel down into your body from the top of your head, slowly going down into your face and neck, traveling down the shoulders, all the way down into the arms, down into the fingers. Feel the healing energy and light going down into your chest, all the way down to your hips. Feel it as it continues traveling down your legs, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Your whole body is now filled with divine healing light and energy. Allow that healing energy to completely fill any physical area that needs healing energy. Feel it warming, healing, and expanding through that area. Allow the healing light to bring peace and healing to any emotional issues or traumas that you may have. Bring your awareness to any intentions or desires that you may have, whether they are for yourself, for others, perhaps for our world as a whole. Hold the thoughts of those intentions or desires as you allow the healing energy to bring your deepest desires to life and your intentions into reality. Feel your connection to divine energy and light and know that all is one. Stay with this deep, relaxing, peaceful feeling of bliss. When you're ready, we're going to very, very slowly start to bring movement back into our bodies. We can start by wiggling our fingers and wiggling our toes, perhaps making some small, slow circles with our wrists and our ankles. And when you're ready, we're going to carefully roll ourselves onto our left hand side, pausing here for a moment, bending our knees, coming into what we call a recovery position. I encourage you to stay here for a few breaths. When you're ready, we can very, very slowly and carefully help ourselves back up to sitting, where we can meet again on our mats. Bringing our hands to heart center, I want to thank each and every one of you for practicing with me today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for getting on your mats. And thank you for all of the work that you did with me today. The light in me honors and respects the light in each and every one of you. Thank you, and namaste.